Word out there. Are the Boks underdone? Australia better prepared?
That's the word out there, but for me, India, nah, I don't think so. I don't think so. I think, I think a lot of judge will be the fact that, we actually played against, I would say, tier 2 countries. But at the same time, I think at the end of the day, 80 minutes is where it's got to go, where it's got to count. Australia, they probably feel that they maybe in the British and Irish Lions series actually started peaking nicely. But the question is, and the challenge for them is, can they do it again? I think that's going to be the challenge.
Yeah, look, it's different. If you look at it from an Australian point of view, against the Lions, they only come there every 12 years, emotionally heightened. You realise that for a lot of these guys, it's the last dance, you know what I mean? Would they get another chance to win this result? So from an emotional point of view, from the Wallabies, at home, they don't really have a choice. In terms of coming out there and playing. I thought the first test, the second test were really good. That could have gone down, then would have had to decide the second test, also good though. So it's different emotionally. A lot of these kids are here from Australia, haven't been to Ellis Park. That's a factor. Altitude's a factor also. You always read, it's quite bizarre when you're listening to one or two of the interviews, one of the players were talking about altitude. For me, that's already a weakness because it's in your head, you're thinking about it, it's there, it's present there. But for the Springboks, I think because the changes are nothing new in this team. You go back to last year, what you've done throughout the team. So the variety of change. So I don't see why people think would be underdone because they're used to the changes. I think if you look, I think Grant Williams has probably been the Springboks' best player. He hardly played the end of URC. He would be considered underdone. But look at the performances he's put out there. But for me, if you look at the benches and all the Springboks starting 15, the pack generally finishes. I mean, the bomb squad comes on, or the reserves you get used. So you're going to a guy and saying, listen, give me a good 40, 50 minutes, and then we put the bench on. So I don't think we'd be underdone.
So they talk about underdone, and I just thought to myself, Ben O'Keefe, great ref. Do refs ever be considered underdone?
Yeah, I think
during
so.
July, he did the Force Lions, Scotland, Fiji. You could say, not quite their top Scottish players were the Lions, second stringers, Lions, Australia. For you to think that the Springboks could be underdone, let's look at the holistic picture of rugby. Can refs be underdone?
Yeah, I think so. I definitely think so. I think, just having conversations with, as my growth is, understanding how referees think. For them, if they're not in the saddle, having to make that hard, critical decision at the right time, then they kind of do miss it. But the more they do it, the more they find themselves in that situation, the quicker they make the decision. And most out of the times, it's if they, let's say, match fit, then they're kind of successful and people don't really feel anything that they, would challenge them on. So I think the referees definitely become underdone as well.
I think you need to individualize it. I mean, I'll go back to the players. Tight forwards like to play. Week in, week out, you get battle-hardened. You know what it's like. There's no such thing. But I think with the conditioning now, the load management, sometimes a break is good. A guy like Thomas Tutu, I think, probably played every game for Bath, probably needs a bit of a break now. He'll come back a little bit fresher, and, So you got to look at it on an individual basis. The guys from Japan probably don't have the physicality that they would get here, So the Australian guys, I can tell you what, for some of those guys that haven't played at Ellis Park, is going to be completely different. For the refs, I think a ref that refs more and he's out there making those harsh those decisions. You might make a mistake once. The second time you're out there, you realize, okay, cool, let me slow it down. There's not that much pressure. But Ben O'Keefe, for me, you look at the pressure he was under that quarterfinal against France, or even, the quarterfinal against France and the booing and all of that. He's a guy that's there for the big moments. I think he's a very good ref and he's probably the right guy for this occasion.
And the Springboks prevail once again.